guide you through it all. And here's how we do it. As Chief of Severe Weather Center 2, it's my responsibility to keep you informed every step of the way when we have life-threatening weather heading our way. And one of the ways we do that is to have the best possible technology, storm tracking capability available. One of the things we got is this radar. It's called a GR2 tracker. And we can actually peer inside of a thunderstorm, take a look at its inside, see what's going on there. Now, looking inside this, you can see that we're looking inside of a thunderstorm like a doctor would look at a body with an MRI. Now, one of the other tools that we have is Storm Tracker 2 HD radar, Georgia's most powerful weather radar, and we have that exclusively. We're the only TV station in Atlanta with our own radar. Now, with our Storm Tracker 2 HD, we're looking at the lightning tracker here. We can tell how many lightning bolts, what kind of lightning's moving your way. We also have the ability to detect the wind inside of a thunderstorm here with this particular radar. The next problem, where is that storm going and who is going to be impacted? And that's where the tracking technology and this radar comes into play. We can actually track down to street level where this storm is going, who is going to be impacted, and what time. If you have 2 or 3 more minutes notice when the storm's coming your way, yeah, that is life-saving technology.
Groundbreaking research in Georgia could be another valuable tool in predicting tornadoes earlier. We'll introduce you to the team behind it.
We're ready to take data.
And how they're using lightning to help keep you safe. Severe Weather Season is a family-to-family special. Produced in partnership with Delta Community Credit Union, Georgia Natural Gas, Kroger, Wellstar Health System, and American Signature Furniture. Welcome back to Severe Weather Season, a family-to-family special.
A new tornado alley is developing near Georgia.
And Severe Weather Team 2 meteorologist Brian Monahan shows us why this is happening and the impact it could have here.
Tornado alley. When I use those 2 words, what part of the country do you think of? I bet it's this one right here, middle part of the country, from Kansas to Oklahoma and Texas. And these states are king when it comes to the amount of tornadoes each year. About 40% of all U.S. tornadoes happen in the middle part of the country. But did you know that you also live in a tornado alley, Southeast Tornado Alley? It extends here from Georgia, west to Arkansas and Louisiana. And about 20% of all U.S. tornadoes, they happen right here in the Southeast. On average, more than 200 tornadoes in the southeastern states each year. We're in a position where we can get tornadoes and significant storms in the southeast, as we know this time of year. A supply of warm and humid air. We're affected by cold fronts. The battle between the seasons happens here in the southeast, and a strong west and southwest jet stream aloft can give our storms the rotation they need to potentially produce tornadoes. You need a rotating thunderstorm to get a tornado. Now, while overall the central part of the country still has more tornadoes, over the last 40 years, the frequency is decreasing here while it is increasing in the eastern part of the country. Some reasons for that. Number one, just more people over in a more densely populated area here in the southeast. So more people to view tornadoes. Scientists are also looking at a possible link to climate change as well. We'll continue to do that in the years ahead. Our tornadoes can be especially deadly, dangerous here. Many of them happen at night. Many of them are rain-wrapped. More terrain here that can make those tornadoes more difficult to see coming here in the southeast.
When we're tracking severe weather, every minute counts when it comes to warnings.
Now there's a new tool that will help us warn you earlier. It involves groundbreaking research by a team from Georgia Tech. I met with the team to see how it works.
It is a really good indicator that that's where my attention needs to be focused. Power is on.
John Trostel is the director of the Severe Storms Research Center at the Georgia Tech Research Institute.
That looks good to me.
He and the GTRI team in Smyrna are conducting cutting-edge research that could help predict tornadoes earlier.
We are looking at lightning increases in storms.
Specifically, they're looking at the correlation between increased lightning and tornadic activity. lots of lightning in a concentrated area implies a stronger updraft, a stronger storm.
And also what we look at is how fast is that lightning increasing? Was it at a low level, and then all of a sudden it's getting much more intense?
So why is that important, the speed of the increase?
It's sort of like an explosive growth of the storm. It's not necessarily an indication that it's tornadic, but it means you really want to concentrate your attention there.
So you're looking at this lightning information in 3 dimensions within a developing thunderstorm, and that helps you determine what?
It helps us determine how many sources there are. We can also determine how many there are per unit area, per unit time, and if that's increasing or decreasing.
A dramatic increase in lightning is something Glenn and I noted minutes before that EF4 tornado hit Noonan in March of 2021.
The storm was remaining intense.
And the GTRI team documented the lightning spike as well. Research meteorologist Jessica Losego showed me the chart tracking the lightning activity before the Noonan tornado.
What we have here is these bars are each just showing how many flashes we have, averaged over 2 minutes. So this occurred about 16 minutes before the tornado was on the ground.
So you saw a big jump in lightning activity about 15 minutes before the tornado touched down. Then you saw another spike before that peak intensity, when it was caused the EF4 damage.
It gives you just a little bit more confidence maybe that storm may produce either damaging winds, hail, or a tornado.
The team is analyzing lightning data from the night of the Noonan tornado and years worth of data from other severe storms. And here's how they get it. When we show lightning strikes on television, we're showing the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, but you're actually measuring a whole lot more within the lightning.
Right. So as lightning, both cloud-to-cloud lightning and cloud-to-ground lightning actually moves, you know how it's forked? Well, every time one of those forks happens, what happens is the lightning, which is really a spark, jumps about 50 meters, about 50 yards. And because you're accelerating those electrons, that actually puts out radio waves. So this is the antenna that actually...
Trostel and the team have about 10 sensors placed throughout Metro Atlanta to detect those radio waves from the lightning. He walked me through how it works. So there's the antenna, so picks up the signal.
Comes down the wire, and then it goes into a set of filters. And then it goes into a board here that's called an FPGA, and that's a very fancy processing board. And then that goes into this board here, which is actually a Linux computer. That takes the data off of this processing board and sends it back to my computer in my office using a cell phone.
You mentioned this big increase in lightning being a potential precursor to a tornado touchdown. How far out into the future are we talking?
It's typically 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15 to 20 minute warning on a potential tornado touchdown is a tremendous amount of lead time.
Yep.
If we're telling folks they need to get to their safe space, into their basement, and we can give 5 minutes warning, that's fantastic. Right. 10, 15 minutes, I think that's going to be a big help.
Yep.
Trostel says lightning data combined with other tools can help warn you earlier about dangerous weather.
You always want to have your Doppler radar so you can see if there's rotation there. It's always good to have people on the ground.
We're looking at the rotation, the winds in the thunderstorm. That's always been our, kind of our primary source of information to give warning ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Research scientist Levi Boggs is looking at lightning activity during past storms. Are you working kind of backwards in the sense that you're finding where a tornado occurred, and then you're looking back in the data to see if you can find patterns?
That's correct. That's exactly right. We're looking when a tornado occurred, and we're looking at storms that have rotation that did not produce a tornado. And then exactly, we're trying to find patterns, or let the computer, with artificial intelligence, find those patterns. And that way, when there's a new storm that comes on, we can feed the data through that algorithm and understand if there's going to be a tornado.
The project's been going for less than a year, but so far, Boggs says the results are promising.
Severe weather can strike at any time.
We are almost always at risk.
We're guiding you through the tools to stay weather aware and to keep you and your family safe.
It quite literally saves people's lives regularly.
That's next when severe weather season continues.
You can count on Severe Weather Team 2 to warn you about dangerous weather.
But there are additional tools to stay weather aware. Meteorologist Jennifer Lopez and Ebony Dion walk you through them.
It quite literally saves people's lives regularly.
State meteorologist Will Langston is talking about the technology that can help you stay weather aware and warn you about dangerous conditions. Langston is a part of the team at the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. They monitor the weather in Georgia year-round.
When something hazardous is projected to come into Georgia, we will message that to the public to the best of our abilities. We will make sure that all of our federal, state, and local partners are in communication.
GMA watches television forecasts, including Channel 2's. Langston encourages people to do that and have a weather app.
It's extremely important to have the capabilities of being alerted, push notifications, and alerts that will wake you up in the middle of the night. When you hear a warning or you see a watch, you should do what's recommended, because so often people who get in trouble with these weather systems are people who may not have taken a warning seriously.
In addition to apps, Langston also recommends getting a NOAA weather radio. They may seem old school, but they are not obsolete.
NOAA weather radios are very reliable as far as letting you know when there is a weather warning in your area.
Then there are tornado sirens. Our producers researched which local counties have them, and while most do, an important reminder.
Tornado sirens are meant for people who are outdoors. So if you're indoors, you should not be relying on tornado sirens to alert you when there's a tornado coming.
All the more reason to have a weather app and to be aware of the threat of dangerous weather.
It's a year-round cycle that we are almost always at risk of having some sort of weather system come into Georgia and potentially produce some hazardous situations.
Severe Weather Team 2 is always here to warn you and guide you through severe weather.
And remember to download the Severe Weather Team 2 app and turn on the notifications to get important weather alerts. I'm Chief Meteorologist Glenn Burns.
And I'm meteorologist Brad Nitz. Thank you for joining us.